Well, hello, and welcome back. I'm AJ O'Neill. It's been a while. Had a little bit of burnout actually, and so I did a couple of sessions, but then kind of dropped it for another week. Anyway, we're back, and the exciting thing is that we're getting to work on the Dash payment merchant services again, which is really cool because I was really interested in that project, and then some other things took priority. This is something that I actually am really interested in using myself. And at this session, a lot of it is just going to be getting back in the saddle and trying to figure out where things left off and where I have to go. My general goal here is going to be, oh, and hello to those of you joining in. Welcome. My general goal here is going to be to get it so that this payment service is a paid service so that people can take this payment service and use and the payment serviceception. So the payment service will be a paid service that people can use for their payment services, if that makes sense. That's kind of the goal that I am trying to get to. With that out of the way, I think today I might do some music again. It's been a while since I did music, and I think I'm feeling a little bit of a need for it. But quick update on the house. Everything is nice, or getting there at least. As you can see, the garage office is set up almost indistinguishably to what it was before in the previous garage office setup. But at some point, I'll be moving to a shed, I believe. Anyway, so with all that out of the way, let's go ahead and have a quick word from our not a sponsor, Mr. Mountain Dew. Top of top, my friends, it is time to open focus. Now, I got this out of the fridge probably about 3 hours ago when I thought I was going to start streaming, but then had a call with Josh and then was taking care of some other stuff. And it's still cold, thanks to my $5 Ozark Trail koozie cooler mabob thing, which I'm glad I didn't spend the $30 on the Yeti, because I did find out that the Walmart brand actually, based on people who did, well, as scientific studies as you can do as a one-off YouTuber type of person. Well, no, some of them were. Anyway, point being, this is as good as it gets. It's better than the Yeti, the reviews say. Anyway, okay, so what was I doing here? This is my demo site, dashhooks.duckdns.org. And I think that this is just this is my hello API. If I remember correctly, I can put in an email address or I cannot put in an email address. Start trial. It's going to give me a QR code to scan. It's going to wait for me to scan it. If I scan it, last thing I remember, we actually had this working where scanning this QR code will actually result in an API key that has access for this tier of usage. So that's where we're at. So how are y'all doing tonight, by the way? What are you up to? What's been going on in your lives since we last streamed together? I would like to know. Oops. Also, I think I'm going to go ahead and put some music on. So give me a minute to do that, if you don't mind. Let's see. Let's see. Mario RPG is what I want. Let's see if I can find that. Doing a little search for it. And then let's open up my terminal. Oh, I was working on day pass last, it looks like. Let me go ahead and get out of here. Oops. What is going on? Oh, there we go. Okay. So I'm going to get out of day pass because I'm not working on day pass. We're working on, what was this one called? There's the webhook client, which I think is this piece. And then there is, yeah, the payment webhooks themselves. So there's the server piece that actually has -D, which is looking at the transactions, which actually we need to go back and make sure that's looking at locked transactions, not just mempool stuff. And then, okay, so those are the two pieces we're working with. And if I open this up, no, I don't think this actually does do anything in the front end with that other service. I think that's all in the back end. Okay, let's see, can we get, where's my music at? OC remix, there we go. Let me drop these here. Oh, a little loud, a little loud. I don't know if that was as loud for you as it is for me. Let's see here. I think that is a little loud. Let me see if I pull that down. Let's see, audio properties. Let me take this down a bit here. Somebody let me know if the audio is all right on the, while I'm playing the music, if it's too loud or it's not loud enough. All right, I'm gonna move. Let's see. There we go. A little Mario RPG for us all. Again, I think that music should be good background level, but if you don't hear it at all or if it's too loud, let me know. Okay. Ryan's gonna hate this. He hates the music because he listens at 2x and then it's just. But it's okay. I need it. All right. Dash. I think I need to go into. I think I actually need to log into these dash hooks. Hey, how's it going? Welcome to the channel. I am just picking up, there's a project that I left off 2 months ago, and I'm just trying to get back into it and figure out where I left off. It's for payment services. For Dash, the digital currency, Dash digital cash. But I am going to, this is going to tie back into the PayPal stuff that was, oh my God, I think that was from September or something. I'm going to unwind this stack and we're going to end up with merchant services that support both digital currencies and PayPal at least. And probably a direct relationship with a credit card processor as well. So not something like Stripe where they can easily cancel you, but one where you actually have a merchant services account with the bank as well. Eventually this is all going to roll back to that. Okay, Dash webhook test. Is this the right one? Right. Wait, this has a connects file. What is this doing? Alright, so I'm doing something here more than I remember. Oh, okay. I think I know what this is. Oh, I'm not in Fish. That's why my autocomplete's not working properly. Let me back out of this. Back into Fish. There we go. Now my autocomplete works the way it's supposed to. Alright. And again, let me know if the audio, if you don't hear it at all, which might now, right now you might not because it just changed songs, it's going up. Let me know if the audio sounds good or not. still ramping up. Bum, 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 bum. Yeah, I'm hoping that's good background level. Okay, all right. So we got the pay adder, increments, last payment at. We got the token. So the way that I had this set up, the pay address. All right, thanks Neuro, but thanks for letting me know that's audio's good. So the payment address is this stuff right here. So keeping track of how many payment addresses we're using. I think that's what that's for. And then the token is going to be, once you've paid, the token you get back is going to have certain privileges based on how much you paid, and then you can pay more to get the token reset. There should probably be another table here that's payments. Okay, yeah, I think this is essentially payments. Okay, good. Then we got token use, because we're keeping track of how many times an API token is used so that we can know if you've hit the limits. Hey, what's up, Queequeg? I think I remember you being in on the channel back a while ago. Queequeg sounds familiar. Ooh. A game I've kept my eye on, Overgrowth, went open source. Might be getting back on the horse someday. Let me see, what's Overgrowth? After 9 years of development. Oh. Here's so many of those. What's the basis for Overgrowth? I'm just taking a look on my other screen here. Do they have it for Switch? Not yet. Okay. Yeah, it's amazing to me. Anytime a project's going long, well, in regular software, we have the whole concept of the agile methodology, which is basically figure out what you can get done by the end of the week and ship them. For the game, it's a little bit different. You really do have to adhere to the old methodologies, and I'm not really sure what you do in that case, unless you just give people free access to beta test it, but I guess you don't do that for 9 years. I don't know, what was Breath of the Wild was in development for 4 or 5 years? That was crazy. I won't be surprised if Breath of the Wild 2 doesn't release until the Switch Pro or Switch 2 or whatever comes out. I think they're going to stay with the Switch. Okay, 1 second here. All right, so I was just looking at my tables again to kind of see what I've got. Yeah. Anyway, I think it'll be interesting to see if the Switch 2, if they skip to some new system, or if they stick with the Switch. I think they should stick with the Switch. I think the Switch is the right console. You know, Nintendo's always jumping around, producing different consoles. They're not doing like what Xbox does, where they produce the same console every time, just slightly different. Nintendo's always producing something radically different. And I think the Switch is just the right formula. I would like to see them go back to the Wii U style so that we could have DS games on the next Switch. I think that would be cool if there was a Wii U type of thing where there's a dock component and a handheld component, and yeah, I would just like to see virtual DS. I'd like to be able to play the new Majora's Mask on the next system. Oh, Star Citizen, I think somebody told me about that one. $400 million later, is it really that much? I think people in the office were talking about that recently. Okay, so I looked at the database. Kind of got a glimpse of what I'm doing there. And then let me just look through the server code here. gonna skip this song, or this music, this piece. There we go. That last one was just a little too... I don't think the Switch is going to have to compete with the Steam Deck. Just because there are gamers, and then there are people who play Nintendo. And it's a different category of person. So I don't think that Nintendo has to compete with anyone, because they do their own thing. I think if they stop doing their own thing, they'll fail as a business. Because Nintendo is great because of their first-party games and their philosophy in focusing on the family, focusing on fun, focusing on gameplay. Actually, I'm going to skip this song too. Maybe this isn't the album I want to be listening to tonight. We'll see. I heard some stuff about, I don't know if it's called Steam Deck, but Steam had some sort of console they were doing a few years ago, and I don't think anything came of it. Okay. Just looking through code here. Alright, so we had some plans that we put in. Alright. Just scanning through code, just kind of getting a feel for what's in here and where I was at and what I was doing. Let's see. Okay. So we've got some stuff to check. I'm guessing this is token must be fresh. I probably ought to scope that. I'm not going to make any changes right now. I'm just going to look through, but... Yeah, I agree. I think Nintendo does share some similarities with Apple. They're about being the best, not about being the most compatible. But I like Nintendo as a company more than Apple because their focus is on fun. I don't believe that Nintendo charges a premium for their device. I think that they charge about what the device costs, and then they keep the MSRP about the same. Even when the cost of the technology goes down, and then they just focus on developing great games. And I think that most games are in the realm of, what, $30 to $60? So think of Breath of the Wild versus, lots of other games. It's worth so much more. Breath of the Wild, if you were to consider what is it worth, well, one, it's worth buying the console, but I mean, I could see, knowing how great it is, I could see paying $200 for that game and feeling like that was a deal. So games are kind of interesting that way. So this is where I've got the quota logic. Let's see, moving down here. All right, so this was create the plan. Did I get this stuff in the README? That's to get the SVG if we're not generating it client side. I think we do have the ability to generate client side as well. Status of the token. Okay, register a webhook. I think this goes to, yeah, base URL dash webhooker. Bless me. Okay. So this is the part that goes to the other service. I kind of want to break these things down. Separate files to help distinguish them. I don't know, there's so little here. It's probably best just to leave it all together right now. And then here's our toy API, the hello. Let's see. And there's our error handler. Okay. Alright, so that's pretty simple. What was our tests? Again, this is going to be a little bit boring. Hopefully we'll have some good interaction and chat and stuff, but I'm going through code from a couple months ago and just trying to figure out where I was at and what I was doing and what my next steps are. What is retool? Let me go Google this. And by that I mean Brave search, of course. Okay, I'm going to bring this over to the main screen. Okay, so it's a low code. Interesting. I'm not quite sure what it is, but that's often the case when I look at things. I'm going to go back up to the top here. Build internal tools remarkably fast. Okay, so I guess this is Crystal reports for web developers. You want to be able to look at your database and be able to figure out metrics and stuff like that. This is cool. I'm going to pass this along. See if it's something that we could use. I'm actually going to make a suggestion that somebody look into this. So thanks for bringing that up. Alrighty. Oh, quick, welcome to the Discord. Oh yeah, and then my bot says, remember, if you like what you like, you get more of what you like. Well, that's actually me. I say that. The bot just reminds me to tell you. Also, come join us in the Beyond Code Discord if you'd like. So, ForGod, tell me what was going on, because I don't actually remember the full story. I know you were wanting to get... So you... Before you, when you first came on the channel, you didn't have a job. Or you did. But now you have a different job? I like this little bit. Okay. So Slonik was the interesting new thing that I found for this. For Go, I'm now using SQL C, and Slonik is kind of the closest you get to that for Node, where you get to write actual SQL and you get some of the ahead of time checking and stuff. So I have to see here. Does this give me... Okay, no, it doesn't right now. I think there's a way that I can have Slonik work so that if I have a syntax error in the SQL, it'll show up in the JavaScript file with having a syntax error. I don't remember how to do that. Okay, so what was this? What file was I in? Test? Okay. So not much was going on in my test file. What was going on in my tests directory? Let's take a look at that. Payment webhook. Okay, that makes sense. So I'm just testing that it appears that I'm getting my webhook registered. Got it. So that's a good test. I think the test.js might just be junk. It's just checking that the database connects at all. Let's see. Alright, here I'm checking my wallets library. Oh, this was the merchant wallet library, right? Address, create a token, set some quota info. Interesting. Generate the token, reset the token. Is that because I'm giving the token back before we actually complete anything with it? I think that's what I am doing, isn't it? What's that about? 502. Isn't that bad gateway? Oh, I know why. I have watch exec turned on the server. So I added a comment to the JavaScript file and I saved it. That caused the server to restart, and then this did a request while the server was restarting, so it got the 502. Okay, let's go back anyway. So there's the pay adder token. That's it right there. So there's my status URL, and there's my token. Alright, so it's generating a token and a payment address and linking the two together. And then it's polling to see when it gets paid. And I think that this approach right now is better than using the Insights API, because the Insights API, you're going to get all the TX locks. I mean, even if it was just on the server side, I don't necessarily need to get all the TX locks. I just need the ones that match. I don't know, I could do this WebSocket on the front end, and that would probably, whatever. I don't need to worry about WebSockets right now, but it's a possibility. That's what I'm getting at. Okay, so I do have the token sending that way. Alright. Let's take a look in the lib. Cache, what the heck was that? Oh, got it. So this was while we're waiting. Yeah, so I got some tests that are just built into the file here. Okay. This is a test. Okay, these are the tests for this module. All right. Okay, let me check out the comments here. Okay, you had a job as a data analyst, right, and you wanted to switch into coding. I don't know what "'tis a good tune" means. I got the job as a data engineer at a Series D startup. Got it. Stuff I was discussing was how to transcribe a Airflow ETL from Python to JavaScript within Retool. Interesting. So a whole bunch of df explode, and I didn't know how to do that in JavaScript. Right, and I remember you talking about the explode stuff. That was pretty recent. Yeah, promises are really important. Promises are... Oh, tune. Okay, got it. Is that a Twitch thing, or is that a Queequeg thing? Yeah, promises are one of the most important things you can learn about in JavaScript, because they are part of what makes JavaScript different, and JavaScript async await does not work like async await in other languages because JavaScript async await is built on promises. So if you don't understand JavaScript promises, you cannot understand JavaScript async await. Well, I think you've heard me give that spiel before, but it bears repeating. UK thing, okay. My brother-in-law is in London. Anyway, so this cache bit, this is, I think it's basically in-memory promises. I should move this to the database if I can move this to the database. I don't remember if that makes sense to do or not. Because another thing that I need to do with this is actually check the index, which I think does require the Insights API. I'm not 100% sure on that. But what I don't want to have happen if something goes wrong with the server and the person actually pays, I don't want to miss out on their payment. If they check status and there's nothing in the promises cache for that address, I should go fetch it from Insights to see if it already happened. That's not being done yet, so I'm going to put that in the to-dos on this. Oh, duh, I should have checked the to-dos that were already here, of course. Alright, let's go back here. Okay, what did I just say I was going to do, though? I said, check Insights if address is not in. If the server restarts, it's possible that payment could be made to a valid address, could have been made to a valid address, and we missed it. Let's need to check Insights or TX index. If address is in the DB but not in memory. So this album is Window to the Stars. It's freely licensed. Part of OC Remix. I'll just drop a link in there. There we go. I loved Mario RPG, as did everyone who ever played it. I still, to this day, think that it is one of the best RPGs, as does anyone who's played it. I think it'd be really cool if they did a remake, but the problem is the collaboration of companies. I don't remember what the story is on who owns the copyright to it right now, but I think Microsoft does. So a remake is unlikely. Or is that, no, maybe that's Top Gear. Because this was by Square Enix, so we could get a remake for it, but they'd have to. And they mended their ways with Nintendo, because Final Fantasy has come to the Switch in some forms. Let me check that real quick. Not the new one, though. The new one wasn't that good. It was all graphics, and it was just too much on rails. Okay. Yeah, let's go back here and just look at issues again. Let's see where we were at. Split demo code into copy-paste part and non-copy-paste part. I don't know what that means. Bug fix state bug on Dashhook server. We did get that figured out, and I think part of it was a fluke. It was just bad timing in terms of having watch exec on and having restarts at the wrong time or something like that. And part of it may have been listening to the when things go into the mempool rather than TX locks, transaction locks. Definitely not ready for the summary video. Okay, Postgres database, relaying the webhooks. That's something that might make sense we want to do. Instant send tag. Yeah, I want that. I don't know if we want that one still. Okay, got it. This is nothing crazy. I think I just copied and pasted this from another project. I need to get that in my cheat sheet. I've got it just kind of shared between a few projects, but yeah, this is just cheat sheet stuff. Sleep. Okay, this is where the goodies are. Oh, yeah, I remember how this worked. Okay, this is important that I'm coming across this. So, xpub keys increments by 1. Okay, this helps keep track of the xpub key increment. So with dash and many of the, well, who cares about the other things? You get what's called an xpub key, and the way that works. With this new setup, my mic isn't close enough. Especially when I'm turning to the camera, I imagine that the volume goes down a little bit. Oh, sorry. Anyway, xpub keys. So you have a wallet, and you get different addresses, and they just increment. And so you can have up to, I think, about 4 billion addresses. I don't remember what the max number is, but I think it's in UNT 16, N16 or UNT 16. And so every time we assign an address, we need to increment the ID, and associating that ID with the token is what, that's how we keep the addresses paired up. Oh, the music's a little high? Okay. I will turn the music down a little bit. Some of these songs are more obnoxious than others. This is one that is particularly loud, I think. Need to turn on that volume smoothing. Is that better? By the way, Domi Tutos, I don't think I've seen you before. Welcome. Nice to have you here. What do you do? Let's see. Okay. Values default. I don't remember what this is. So we don't store the actual address, we just store the ID, which I think that's good too. I need to take a look at the database, but I think it's better if we don't actually store the addresses in the database, because then you can wipe the xpub key and if the database gets captured, you don't give away any information. Okay. Okay, so this is update set last payment at equals now. I don't know if we just want to update that. I think that we'd want to create a new record. Okay, so this one I think is wrong. Table token. Let's take a look at this. Yeah, there's some stuff I'd like to refactor here. Just because we've already got this in other projects, this bit here with the dictionary and whatnot. Or maybe it's refactored enough, whatever. Okay, got some hash. Probably just put that in lib. Okay. Let's see. I'm just moving on to the next piece of music here. I'll bring that up just a touch. There we go. Okay. So generating base62 tokens. Inserting it in with a quota. Reset. I gotta figure out where I'm calling reset. I think I've got something wrong here with the way that I'm handling the payments and the reset, because what I should be doing is inserting, every time there's a payment I should be inserting a new record, although I guess I don't really have to, because you can see those payments in the ledger, the dash ledger itself. So I don't really need to store them. Probably just as well. Well, because there could be other types of payments too, other than just dash, potentially. Okay. Get with pay adders. What are we doing here? Touch. Okay, that's just gonna set a use of a token. Because we got hard and soft limits on tokens. So for our example API, if you use it, if you pay a mil a dash, you can use it 10 times or something like that. Oh, okay. Elias on Discord. Gotcha. Well, I'm not doing much programming right now. You said it's interesting seeing another dev program. I'm not doing much programming right now. It's been 2 months since I've touched this project, and I'm just kind of reviewing it, trying to get my head around where I was at, and just looking through each of the files and just seeing, because this wasn't wrapped up in a, I don't think this was wrapped up in a good place as much as it was there was another project that got priority, and so then we just switched. Okay. Let's see. We're gonna get payment address with a D, amount. This makes sense. Pay adder token. Okay. Join. Okay, this should be get. Okay, so oh, okay. I think what is happening here is each payment's going to be made to a different address. That's why I had the update. So you're going to get a token, you're going to get it with an address. You must pay to that address for the first use of the token. Additional uses of the token, you're going to get a different address to pay to. I think that's how it's supposed to work. Did I do documentation for this project or just comment the important sections? There's not much of either in this particular case. The code, I think that I did a pretty decent job of naming what the functions are, so they don't really need a lot of comments. There are a few comments here and there. But it didn't really get to the point of having good documentation yet, so I think I would like to start adding in the API at this point. But I do think that just going back through this, I feel like, at least for myself reading this, which I'm pretty bad at remembering the code that I've been working on, I think I did a pretty decent job of just being able to go back through this and see, okay, yeah, these are the files I was working on, this is what's done in this. So, I mean, I have been going through it for about an hour, but I do feel like I actually have a grasp of what's going on in the code. So I think I'm going to grab this real quick and move this over to the README. Let's see. I'm going to put API in here. And let's just start documenting this. It is, I think a lot of this is self-explanatory. You kind of look at it, it makes sense. Or at least I've done similar enough things for myself that it's consistent with my own, how I do things. But I am going to document these so that we've got them. All right, let me check out. Oh yeah, go ahead. Anytime you've got a question, feel free to just ask the question. You don't have to ask a question, because that's, that's a waste of a question. If it was a genie and you were wishing to have a wish, that'd waste one of your wishes. You know what I'm saying? Where have I been? I moved. That's where I've been. So I moved from a townhome into a house, so I'm now a homeowner, and the garage in the new house is set up like the garage in the old house, so still good. Okay, let's see. I tested the SSL encryption. You're right, there is a size limit, but then how does it work for HTTPS when you send data? Oh, you're talking about RSA encryption, not SSL encryption. Okay. So, RSA is large enough so you do both types of encryption. You do public key and symmetric. So public key is also called asymmetric encryption. And asymmetric encryption is slow, and you can only encrypt very small amounts of data. Symmetric encryption is fast, and you can have an arbitrary size of data. It's block encryption and streamed encryption. Yeah, thanks on the congratulations. So let me see here. So I'll go ahead and pause this. So when the handshake occurs with the RSA encryption, part of what is encrypted is the AES key. So they'll do a handshake and confirm that it's the correct server, and include a randomly generated AES key. And that will be shared between the client and the server, just that client and just that server, and just for the duration of that session. And every so often, if you're connected for a long time, the AES key will actually be regenerated. So you use the RSA to send the AES, and then that's how HTTPS works. And this is one of the reasons that we have HTTP2, is that with HTTP1, the handshake time, the way the spec is written is slightly ambiguous, and Google wasn't able to take full advantage because there was enough web servers that interpreted the spec a particular way that we actually needed a separate spec in order to get rid of that slowdown. So the RSA handshake or ECDSA or whatever asymmetric algorithm they use is slow enough that they wanted the ability to just assume the win. So I talk about optimizing the happy path. That's what everybody that's writing web servers wants to be able to do. You want to assume the handshake is going to complete successfully, so you want to be able to bundle as much information as you can at the beginning, because the starting HTTPS can be an expensive process every time you start a new connection because of the asymmetric encryption, the certificate verification, etc. And so basically with HTTP2, what it can do is skip part of the handshake and send, basically just send more data at once, assuming that the client is going to respond appropriately. So both the server and the client, rather than having request response, it sends, I think, 3 things all together at once in the request, and then 3 things all at once back in the response. So I think it sends the, I don't know, I don't remember exactly how it works, but they bundle more data, assuming that the server on the other end is going to be able to appropriately handle the handshake and establish the key and stuff like that. So hopefully that makes sense. Okay. All right. So that was a get, right? Is it a get? Oh, yeah, it is a get. Okay, so here's the API. What are we doing? So this is create an order for an API token. That's what this actually is doing. And then this is get the pay adder QR. SVG. I actually don't know if that is correct. Yeah, I think it is. I probably should put what we're posting and then what the response is in here. And then I should probably put a sample response in here. And then this is going to do poll for the status of the token so that this becomes valid on payment. Okay, and then I don't know what this was going to be. Post addresses adder. I think this might actually be internal. I think both of these are internal if I'm not mistaken. So internal API. Let me go take a look at those real quick. Okay, what am I missing here? Is this live? Yes, this is live. No, I am not part of Dash Core Group. I am a member of Dash Incubator. Let's see. Need to learn a lot more about how HTTPS works, I think. Whenever you send data, say via post using HTTPS, it encrypts that data and sends it to the server. Yes, with the pre-shared key that they already established. So it sends it via AES. So the Neverworld, I'm wondering why, remind me again, why is it that you're interested in learning all of this about HTTPS? Is it just for fun, or is there something that you're trying to implement where you need to understand the low-level details better? I'm all for understanding low-level details better. I'm just trying to figure out what, where the interest is coming from. Yeah. Big D is big on Dash. Yeah, and feel free to ask questions. I answer questions. Okay, where was that at? Oh, this doesn't do anything. Right. Okay, so I can get rid of that one. I'm coming back to this project, so there's a couple different projects. You're probably familiar with the vote that just happened. So that took priority over this project, which was for merchant services. And so it's been about 2 months between that and then me moving. And so I'm just kind of reacquainting myself, writing some documentation, trying to get back in the saddle, as it were. But I'm building out basically merchant services for SaaS products so that somebody can do micropayments. Say they can use your API for 100 API calls or something like that. So they can pay $1 millidash and use it for 100 API calls or whatever. That's what I'm building out. Will Dash run dApps? Be like Amazon for DeFi? That's more for somebody on the platform team to talk about. I am not. I'm going to say yes, but I don't understand all of that yet. It is on my task list to go through some of the Dash platform tutorials to try to learn that and figure out where that's going and develop an opinion on what I think is good and what I think needs improvement for where that's going. Thanks for the software engineering link. I'm having a problem right now that I'm theorized more than create the solution. I feel frustrated with myself for being stuck. Which link were you talking about? Was that my my bot giving out the Creeds of Craftsmanship link? I didn't see that pop up here. Okay. I'm doing end-to-end encrypted social network, and I tried using RSA. I think it said 2 kilobyte size limit when the text was too long. I thought SSL uses RSA too. I was wondering how it does encrypt and decrypt post data larger than the size limit. Yep. And that's what it is you use asymmetric encryption for key exchange, for shared key exchange, and then you use AES once you've done that exchange. So, will micropayments be in direct competition with Block or PayPal? I'm not really familiar with Block. I don't know what that is, but I would say it's probably not in direct competition with PayPal because this opens up a new market opportunity. So PayPal does not have the ability to do microtransactions. There is no online service that I'm aware of that can let you do microtransactions. So I would not say that this is in competition. I would say that this is positioned to fill a niche that credit card companies cannot and will not fill. I managed to find the encryption that Solana uses. Okay. Yeah, I would not invent. Well, let's say, be careful about what I say I would do. I think that HTTPS is a great solution. I think that a lot of people in the quote unquote Web3 space have a fundamental misunderstanding of how the internet was designed. And just because cloud services took advantage of the limitation of dial-up, a lot of these so-called Web3 advocates are throwing the baby out with the bathwater. And I don't know, I think it's maybe a good analogy would be two-wheel drive versus four-wheel drive. You know, saying, well, because most cars were developed with two-wheel drive because it's cheaper, rather than developing a four-wheel drive car, we're going to develop a flying boat. You know, it's, well, if your problem is that the car's only using two wheels, you can just deliver power to all four wheels. And that's kind of the internet, the infrastructure of the internet is by design, both politically and technically decentralized. Just because Amazon has put more marketing budget into web services than anyone else doesn't make the internet flawed, right? So yeah, you are welcome, Big D. Okay, let me get back over here, and then I think this webhooks DWH was internal dash webhooks. Am I doing that? No, I was. No, it is right here. What is it used for, though? Am I using it anywhere? I'm going to double check on this. Oh, no, this is internal. Yes, webhooks, of course. Okay, this is my core innovation right here. Is that anybody is going to be able to use, this is what's going to become the quote unquote copy and paste code. Okay. Is anybody's going to be able to use part of this in their application to get confirmation that the payment was received. Yeah. Which technically you could develop for free on Insights, but I'm wary of using the Insights API because, well, because of the centralized nature of it, and because I'm not really sure what the business objective is of Dash Insights. Because if it did get heavy usage, then they would have to scale it, and since they don't seem to have a payment model for it, I don't know what would happen there. So I'd rather rely on something that has a predictable fee structure, because that gives me the peace of mind. And basically, as a business person, generally, you know, because in the open source world, there's a different mentality than you have as someone running a business. When you're someone running a business, you want to pay money because it gives you the sensation that what you're paying for will be there tomorrow. When you don't pay money for something, it doesn't matter if it's open source, because you don't know if it's going to be available for you to use tomorrow. And you may not have all of the team and talent that you need in order to run the infrastructure for that thing. So that's why Dash Insights would seem right to me if it had an option to pay, but it doesn't. And maybe it will. Maybe this, I hope that this becomes how people pay for Dash Insights. That would be amazing. Okay. Let's see. Easy asks, do you still recommend using Node for API over Go? So it's not that I recommend Node for APIs over Go. It's that if you have lots of APIs that you're gluing together and you need to transform lots of data and you need to be able to do that in terms of development time pretty quickly, and the data may not be well structured because you're getting it from different sources and you don't have a lot of choice in how that data is structured, then a typed language in general may not be an approach that's going to help you build quicker, because you're going to be dealing with types that you're not in control of. So what I was saying about Node before is that if you're dealing with lots of different APIs, if your product is a glue product, then yeah, I think Node is a good choice, because literally that's where JSON comes from and that's the data format of the internet, right? So now, alternatively, there is gRPC, and some people are using gRPC for typed languages. Hold on just one second. My hands are really, really dry because while moving boxes, and then I don't know what else. I guess we've been making fires the last 2 days. We just got a fire pit. Anyway, my hands have started to develop calluses and get really, really dry over the past week. And so after a couple hours, the lotion wears off and I put a little more lotion on. It's weird. I'm not very manly. I'm not used to having calluses. My skin feels so different. Anyway, let's see. You're creating history on Dash. I don't know what you mean by that. Explain. Okay, what do you think is holding back crypto e-commerce? Does crypto make sense for e-commerce, or should it only be an investment? I think it absolutely does not make sense for investment. So, okay, let's talk about this. I'm gonna pause the music here. Okay. So, and Josh, I think this is going to be a good clip. So let me repeat the question here. What do you think is holding back crypto e-commerce? Does crypto make sense for e-commerce, or should it be only investment? So I absolutely do not believe that it should be an investment. I might walk that back a little bit. But, okay, you have to think about it in terms of economies. Don't think about it in terms of the technology. Think about it in terms of the economy. So there's multiple things that we have to pull apart there. What is holding back crypto e-commerce? I think in a way we need an Apple. We've got a bunch of PCs that are all fighting to be in some weird way compatible with their own proprietary protocols and just really doing a bad job at it. There are some legal issues in terms of different countries. I don't even want to go into the politics on it right now. Or I do, but I don't. And for one thing, we need an Apple, and that's what I think Dash could be positioned to be. But I think there's too many people in the Dash community presently that think of Dash as a cryptocurrency rather than thinking of Dash as digital cash. And Dash as digital cash, that's the Apple approach. That's the win. Dash as a cryptocurrency is just stupid, because it's just one more indistinguishable thing that nobody understands amongst a bunch of other indistinguishable things that nobody understands, right? So, but let's unpack that. What does that mean? There needs to be an Apple. And this goes into the economy factor, right? So you could invest in the US dollar. That would be a terrible investment, by the way. but you could invest in the US dollar. If you remember back around, what was it, 2004 or so, there were all these people that were investing in dinars. I don't remember if that was Afghan or Iran or Iraq, or it was some country that we were invading and overturning their government. And I say we, I don't actually mean we, I mean the radicals in the government that pull the strings and do things that are generally bad for the world and America. But anyway, and so a lot of people thought because the economy of one of these countries was going to crash, but then because of our presence, it was going to build back better. And so people were investing in dinars because they thought that the price of dinars was had dropped and it was gonna go way back up, and so they were going to make a lot of money on it. And that's kind of the idea of investing in an economy. You think that a group of people, say a country, is not very stable, but you think it's going to become stable. And so if it becomes stable, then the value of its dollar is going to rise. In the sphere of cryptocurrencies and digital currencies, which we need to distinguish between those, because most cryptocurrencies cannot be used as a digital currency because the transaction fees are so high that you can't use them, right? So Dash, you can buy bread with Dash. You can literally buy bread with Dash. Literally. I have a Dash debit card. I can go to Walmart. I can buy bread with Dash, and the cost of bread does not increase because I'm purchasing it, right? And if you were to try to do that with most cryptocurrencies, which are intended to be this investment thing that's all about hype, then you would you'd end up paying $15 or $30 or $40 or $100 in transaction fee to be able to spend $3 on bread, right? So that doesn't make sense. So you have to have something that's like Dash for commerce to work at all. But then you also have to have the full economy. You can't invest in cryptocurrencies as a product because there's generally no product there. It's the same as an MLM, right? You meet somebody who's going to sell you $2 granola bars for $5 each, but what they're really selling you is the opportunity to invest in a $5,000 package of granola bars and home products so that you can then go sell $2 granola bars for $5 to other people. But what you'll actually be selling is the opportunity for them to invest in a $5,000 box of home products, right? So that's the idea of the MLM, and that's the idea of a lot of these cryptocurrencies is there's no real product. There's nothing that's actually better. In fact, typically everything about it is worse than your existing alternatives, just like with an MLM. The granola bar isn't better than, what's the brand name granola bar? I see the picture in my mind. What's it, Quaker Oats or something like that? General Mills? I don't remember, but you get a box of the chewy granola bars, and the granola bar you get from Amway or whatever, it's not a better granola bar. It's a worse granola bar that costs more. And that's what most cryptocurrencies are. They don't function better in any particular way. They just cost more and you have the ability to invest in them, right? So again, there's a lot to unpack here. But let's kind of put that one in a box and move along. So then if you consider not the investment, because and you can invest in things because just there's always hype cycles, right? So you can invest in stuff and maybe you win and maybe you lose, but there's not a product, there's not a technology. But if you could develop an economy, which is what we're trying to do here, that's literally what I'm working on, is helping to develop an economy meaning that you can purchase goods and services natively in this digital cash, right? So we can have an API service, and there's some dog fooding here because what we're working on is an API service for payments. So that's a little bit cyclical, and you could start to make the MLM argument. Well, like, all you're doing is selling access to sell access to sell access, which in this particular case is true, but only because it's bootstrapping, right? It's dog fooding and it's bootstrapping. And I will get back to some other. Oh, yeah, I think actually I'll look at the comments right now. I just meant you're contributing to its development, meaning to Dash. Okay, got it. And I'll get back to that later. Economies of scale is not what I'm talking about right now. And then Kuwait might be what I was talking about with the dinars. I'm not sure. I don't remember what it was. But anyway, so we need to have a cyclic economy where you get paid in Dash and you pay in Dash, and that there's a clear benefit to this. And I think where the clear benefit lies is, in fact, the niche is in micropayments, because there's no other way to do that right now that I'm aware of. I don't think anybody is solving the problem of micropayments. Certainly nobody in the traditional spaces. Visa has no interest in solving that problem. PayPal's not solving that problem, right? Transaction fees on most networks are whole percentage points, typically tending towards 10% when you've got all of the stuff factored in. You know, if you sell something on eBay or heaven forbid on Amazon, I mean, I just don't know how you do it unless you're selling millions of items and you're in their highest tier where you're paying to lower your fees. And, you know, it's just impossible to, if you want to sell something for less than $10 on the existing platforms, it's just not really doable between the platform fees, the credit card fees, the taxes, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Within the Dash ecosystem, again, think of it as a country, think of it as Dash Nation, right? So you're paying taxes in Dash Nation as part of your transaction fees, but they're very, very small, right? They're less than a percentage point. And so you can actually build out a network of services. We don't really have it yet, but we could. And if there's a network of services where you can go full circle on everything, that's when also it will stabilize. So sometimes, you know, it's the tortoise and the hare. Do you want to invest in the thing for the short term or for the long term? So if you were thinking about an investment in a cryptocurrency, you have to think about, what does it represent? What is it trying to do, right? And if all it's trying to do is just be a tool for investment, for a replacement for stocks or whatever, that's not going to work, because you're competing against a machine that you can't compete against. If the legislators and the people that are in bed with them are all, if they've all been colluding to get where they've gotten, and they're able to manipulate the law to get where they want to go, then what we're going to see is just more regulation of the same, right? So I don't think that a cryptocurrency that is performing the function of an investment for a company, I don't think that's really going to work out, because it's just going to get regulated out of existence, and it's going to be more costly to use that than to do other things. So in the short term, yeah, you know, a couple of companies were able to do this, that, or the other where the regulation was uncertain. But if you want to consider in terms of the economy side, investing in Dash could be good from the sense that if Dash accomplishes its goals, which it is accomplishing them, you know, like I said, I can go to Walmart and I can buy bread with Dash. this the last trip that my wife made to Walmart, I believe that she actually paid in Dash. Um, or there is a separate step there because you basically get a Walmart gift card and then um, you trade you anyway. But the thing is, it's possible and it's not that inconvenient. It's, maybe an extra. Well, actually, no, I don't think it's any extra steps because you just add it in the Walmart app and then there you go. So anyway, my point being, since Dash is working on all these things, it's working on tools for merchant services, it's working on the integration with the existing infrastructure, especially with Dash Direct and the debit card and all that. Um, it may develop a stable economy that's actually useful. And it is, for me, it's already useful for doing international payments. So there's somebody that I trade uh, Dash across the pond, and it makes things a lot simpler for both of us because as of right now, as far as I'm aware, Dash is an asset, like a bicycle is an asset. And so it makes it really easy for us to just trade, um, and then not have to worry about the forms and the regulations and all that stuff. We can just, as consenting adults, decide how we want to live our lives and what we want to provide back and forth and just do it. And I am worried that that's going to get regulated out. But anyway, I hope that made enough sense, is kind of where my head's at and what I'm seeing and what I'm thinking. Feel free to ask a follow-up question there. I'll check over in the chat here too. But yeah, I think that what Dash is doing is putting things on the right track. I think that this right here is critically important. This must exist in order for a digital currency to take hold. And yeah, I mean, if you want to play the game, just like gambling, right? If you know the rules of the game and you know the math and you know how things are going to work out, you can turn a profit. I don't know why it's illegal for people to, I forget what the term they have for it is, but when you go in a casino and you know what machine they have and you've read the specs of the machine, so you know what the tells are, how the random number generation works and stuff like that. I guess the generic term is card counting. It seems that if the casino is going to rip you off, then you should be able to use your own brain to, arrive at the situation to get the money out of the machine. But whatever. But that's kind of how I see the cryptocurrency investment is. The people that are winning are card counting. They're just looking at tells. They're looking at things that they understand about, not about the value of that currency, but about how people react and how trading algorithms work, etc. And there's, I forget the name of it, but my brother-in-law, he gave me this course that I think it was called the Crypto Backer or something like that. And he explains the algorithms and he explains, let's see. No, that's not it. Let's see if I can find it. Real quick, I'll give you the link if I can. Anyway, Blockchain Backer. That's this dude. And he's got a course that you can buy. I don't remember how much it is. I think it's in the realm of $30 or $100, something like that. But this guy explains that stuff. Okay, so here we go. Blockchain Backer. So this guy, if you're interested in just making money and kind of learning how to do the card counting, this is the guy. Okay. Maybe an app like DoorDash that pays only in, and I don't like using the term crypto because it's not accurate. Cryptography is something entirely different, and a digital currency is something entirely different. Dash is a digital currency that happens to be a fork of a cryptocurrency, but it doesn't serve the same purpose. It's different. Anyway, yeah, I think it's going to have to be online. I don't think it's going to be something like DoorDash, because with DoorDash, you're entering into a network of existing economies. So you're tapping into the fast food economy, right? And in order for this to work out, you don't want to have to pay exchange fees and stuff. By the way, which is another great thing about Dash, because you don't have to deal with exchange fees, because you can use the Dash debit card and then you can skip the exchange fees and you can go just straight across with stuff. But you would be taking money. I don't think that it's going to win on a moral basis, right? Moral purchases work well for something like Kickstarter, but they don't succeed with the long tail. So people get all hyped up about privacy or this, that, and the other, and it sounds really cool, and you get your bro points or whatever it is. But then once you've sold to that group of customers on the Kickstarter, the problem is that you have no more customers. They're done. You've exhausted your supply. So when you make a moral marketing decision, if you try to make a moral business, it's morally better to use uh, a digital currency. You're not going to win. You can get a big hype train, but you don't cross the chasm. So I don't think that something like DoorDash is going to work. I think that it's going to be online services like what we're building here and what I've been building with the Dash Day Pass. Okay. We will have a network of services. We are ETH, but better. I think this is entirely the wrong framing. I like the network of services, but ETH, but better, I think is the wrong framing, because if you say we're ETH, but better, then immediately you're just throwing Dash under the bus with all the cryptocurrencies and not letting it stand out as a digital currency. Let's see. Yeah, Walmart, Best Buy, Outback. Yep. Yep. You can use the Dash Direct debit card at lots of places, and you can use the gift cards to get discounts. And I think the gift cards are the best things to use when you can, because I think those are the most difficult to regulate, because a gift card is an asset and a bicycle is an asset and Dash is an asset. And so there's not a point of ambiguity that where regulation, I don't think really has room to creep in. But with the Dash debit card, I think you don't have to have KYC, meaning know your customer. So you can put in a fake email address, a fake street address, whatever. And I don't think that I could be wrong. I don't think that that's doing anything illegal. I don't think that those are required. But in any case, you can put in just bogus information, whatever you want, and it's not actually checked on the Dash Direct side. But whereas it's kind of this debit card, is it still an asset? Or are you now being subject to regulatory concerns? That's something where I prefer the Dash Direct gift card approach on that. Okay, let's see. Perhaps Dash Wallet will compete with Venmo. Not a chance. Maybe Dash Pay, that upcoming new app. But I think that some people are going to have to get off their high horse about paper wallets and sweeping, because there's been a lot of just stupid decisions. I won't come on that strong. I don't need to come on that strong. I think they're poor decisions uh, that have been made with the current Dash Wallet app, where it should just say scan, and if you scan a QR code that you're swiping, it should work. And if you scan a QR code that has a payment amount associated with it, it should work. And if you're scanning an address, if you're scanning what should be an XPub key for a contact, it should work. And they have made it more difficult to use the swiping feature of paper wallets, where you just paper wallet, meaning that the money is in the QR code. The QR code is a private key. They've made that more difficult a few times now. It seems that they've intentionally made that difficult, or just maybe just through lack of thought. And then we could just do paper wallets through URLs. So I could just send you a Dash URL that has money on it. I could text that to you, and you could click it, and it could open up in the Dash app. but that's not been implemented. And I think that that is a shame. I think that that really should be implemented. But this also goes back to something that I really believe in about using the current internet that we have and the decentralized nature of domains, rather than relying on the centralized distributed hash table where you could give someone a link to your own domain. Because if you send someone in a text message, if they don't have the app installed, then the app URL may not open. It may not become highlighted for them to click on it. But if you had a personal domain that you could send, then that could redirect them to the app without giving away the private key that's contained in the link that has the money. And so you could construct something where it's decentralized and it's very secure for doing payments. Anyway, what? Something about Venmo, more about people a lot. I don't get that. Is that a reference to something? And then API issue, I don't know. I don't know what that means, what that's talking about either. Anyway, note to Josh, I think we may have wrapped up that segment now. It was a long segment, but I think it was good. Maybe I'll share that with in the Dash Discord or something. I probably should post these in the Dash Discord. I guess I'm a little bit intimidated because I still feel like, um, the whole "you don't even go here" type of thing. I'm not. I don't know. Am I one of us yet? Let me see. Do I have a soundbite for that? I don't. I don't have a good soundbite for that. But for lack of a good soundbite, I'll just put this one.
But there's no sense crying over every mistake. You just keep on trying till you run out of cake.
All right. You have great ideas. Please share. Thanks. Yeah. Well, we could maybe prioritize. Well, I guess we could just take the time code of this and share it somewhere, and we could prioritize Josh turning that into a clip to share. Maybe that would be the better thing to do. I'm not sure. I kind of like that idea because oftentimes when people share the link with a time code in it, it eventually gets lost, or when it goes from opening in the browser to then opening in the YouTube app, it loses the time code. So I kind of like the idea of doing it. But anyway, yeah, you tell me where to share it. I don't know. I like I said, I'm still kind of sheepish about this because I'm not. I don't really like people. I've come to realize I don't like dealing with people. I don't like the problems of people. I like to have somebody that is my uh, partner in interacting with a group where I can work with them one on one to workshop ideas and try to get the right intellectual resources in play and point out the technical details of a particular strategy or belief or something, and sometimes non-technical details. But I like to stick in that arena and then let someone else find the right way to present that to the right people, especially because I'm very abrasive, because I'm just going to say, this is what should be done, and this, everything else is dumb, because that's what I actually believe a lot of the time. I am trying to reconsider in my heart my abrasiveness, but I don't know that I'll ever be a people person. Okay, let's see here. Body. Token, email, phone, webhook. Interesting. It's identifiers. Got it. Hey, Mr. Punav, FF. What's up? Thanks for joining. Your daily live timing. Okay, I don't know if I'm just getting half of your messages. Hold on, let me look here because something's off. your messages don't quite make sense to me. Or maybe it's just a delay. You're responding just a couple of words to something that I just said, but there's this 15-30 second delay and I'm missing it. Okay. Dash blog. I don't know that. I don't think that dash blog is the right place for me to share these things. I don't know. I think Ryan will watch this and he'll make a suggestion. Anyway, where was I? I was looking at the README. Yes. Okay. So what I wanted to do here. The purpose of this was to provide, hold on. Let me first go back to this. So we have an account token. What was that about then? If account token, try to get the account token. Okay. And then try to get the latest address, or okay, this way or that way. Got it. Okay, and I think, if I remember correctly, this is using, I think it's using big serial. So it's going to increment automatically. I recently found out that we shouldn't be using big serial. We should be using, there's a new type for that. I think it's called generated something or other. What's up, Honene? Good. I like it when the tools are returned to their proper location. She's camera shy. Okay. So that is optional, I think is what, yeah. And then the rest of these are optional too, actually. It's all contact details. All right, so token, let's go up here, optional, existing token. And then we're going to have email, optional email for low balance notification. I'm just going to call it optional email. Provide optional. Let's go ahead and plug this like that. Contact information for low balance / near quota notifications. That's what we want to do here. So we have phone and then webhook. That's what we're going to be. And then what are we going to get back on that? So again, I'm just going to check rec.body here. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then we're out of it. And then what was the response in the happy case here? Take a look at that. Oh yeah, we did have QR there. Okay, let's go ahead and do this as well. Actually, this is going to be fine. Okay, let me go back here and check. Thanks for the kind information. You are welcome. Do you have your own SMTP mail server? In fact, I do. But I don't use it much yet. I use it for a couple of wrong thinker things, but I don't use it for regular communication as of yet. Okay, where did that address go? I just like to put in the full length of the address, these things. I think, what was it, the last 6 are checksum bytes. So if I were to back this out to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I don't remember if that's where the checksum bytes are exactly, but I think that's where they are. Boop, boop. Hey everybody, how's it going? I'm AJ O'Neill, and I am well, a lot of this actually, the first bit was me getting caught up on what this code is doing, and then we had a nice discussion about, well, monologue, I guess, about uh, digital currency economies, and now I'm back to, now that I've figured out what it is that I'm doing or was doing last time I was working on this 2 months ago, I'm getting the documentation up to date so I don't have to make that mistake again. Okay, so the amount is going to be, what denomination is this? Let me go check that. Plan amount. Where's plan at? Where'd plan come from? Plans. Okay, let me go look at plans real quick. I think this is just in here. Okay, so the amount, I don't know what to call this. Well, I guess it's just the amount in dash. So this is cost of plan in dash. There we go. Token. And this will be new, or let's call it replacement token. Let's call it new, refreshed, or replacement token. All right, status URL. Yeah, that's probably correct. I think I'll just leave this as is there. Maybe shorten that out. All right, and then we got QR. Not URL safe because it will be used by data URI. Not URL safe. What do I mean by that? Oh, the base 64 isn't URL safe. I think that's why I put that there. I think before this was the base 64 coming back, but then I actually put it in the image. Okay, I don't think I need that anymore. I think that is self-explanatory. Alrighty. So I think we got the same thing here. There we go. That looks good. All right, so again, this bit here is if I want to create an order for an API token. So I don't have an API token for our mythical Hello API, and I want to order an API token. I'll get back an API token that is not activated. Oh, this is not. Soon to be reactivated token. Let's see, token that will be activated upon payment. Let's see. There we go. There we go. Okay, get the payment address as QR or SVG. And then I'm guessing that this will actually be an SVG document. I have to check and see what this looks like right here to know for sure. This is probably a data URI. Yeah. So let me think about how I could do that. Let's go take a look at it. By the way, feel free to ask questions. We can go on tangents, especially about Dash and digital cash and that sort of thing. But we can go on other tangents too. So if you got a question, don't feel afraid to ask it even one bit. And how's everybody doing tonight? And where are y'all coming from? Is it mostly return visitors? No, we got a few new people I can see already because we've let's see. Big D, we had not talked before, right? This is your first time on channel. And then Mr. Punav, same thing. But I think a lot of you are returning. The Neverworld. We spoke, was it a week ago? 2 weeks ago? Not more than 2 weeks ago. New Jersey. Cool, cool. Okay, what was I grabbing that for? I grabbed that, oh, because I wanted to look at the API here. Okay. API public payment address type. SVG. Okay. And API public, I scope that for things that don't require payment. Let's see. Oh no. Payment addresses. Cannot set property content type of undefined. Well, let us check that out. Let me open up another screen here, and then let me open up a screen here. I'm actually going to pull this to the other screen for a second, just in case. I think this was my demo server. I don't think I've got anything important running on here or anything that exposes API keys or whatever. Okay, this is what we were looking at right here. Let's see. 283. So let's go look at server line 283 recres. Oh, I think I was mixing up maybe my Go and my Node. This should be like so. Because we can access rec.headers for the request, but for response, we do res.setHeader, which tells me I may not have actually tested that before. Let's see if it works. Hey, it works. Okay, cool. Let's take a look at this document and see what it looks like. Oh, it doesn't actually start with doc type. Interesting. Maybe that, I think all XML documents are supposed to start with doc type. Let's take a look in curl just to be sure. Whoa. Okay. Well, would you look at that? It's not doc type, but it has this thing right here, so that's good enough for me. Subscribed. Awesome. Thank you. PayPal has micropayments. I don't think that they have micropayments in the same way. So when I think of micropayments, Well, go ahead and give me a link if you don't mind. If you want, if it doesn't let you give the link here, you could give it to me in Discord. So you should have the Discord link. Yeah, it just popped up with the if you like what you like, you get more of what you like. Also, come join the Discord. So check that out. Send me the link. I'll take a look at it. Because when I say micropayments, what I mean is that for things that are the cost of bread or less, nearly 100% of what is paid goes to the merchant. So technically, you can do a micropayment of 50 cents and get none of the money. So, I think in the credit card world, I think a micropayment means that you don't have to pay the full extra 30 cents, but I'm not sure. So drop me that link and I'll check it out. I think this garage floor might slant a little bit more than the other one, or maybe something about my desk is different. There's a little something going on with my neck. Okay. All right, and there's the token status, and that's going to tell us whether or not our token has already been paid or not. Okay, status. Okay, details could be pending. Or what else could it be? Okay, details. Racers. Okay, so here, the pull mechanism here, I'm using a rare feature of promise, which is race. So what it's going to do is it's going to wait for up to 5 seconds. And if 5 seconds passes and there's no update, then it's going to have this default status pending. Because there's the 5 second sleep is one of the promises, but there's also waiting to hear back from a webhook is another one of the promises. It's waiting for information on this token. And so if there is if there is something to wait for, if there's a webhook to wait for, then it'll wait for both, and whichever one responds first. So if the webhook gets back within that 5 second period, then the webhook will be, or if the webhook was already resolved, because this cache handles that case as well, then the promise will immediately fulfill with the result of that. So I need to go look at what wait for gives back. Okay. Adder's ID. Okay, it's going to have this promise. It's going to resolve. Blah, 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 blah. So the wait for is not where to look. Where to look would probably be, there's a clear. That doesn't do anything yet. What else is there? Get or create? Get. So we don't have the set function. So that must be in the code. That should probably, the server code, that probably should move. Okay, let me check comments real quick. Alrighty. Discord in general posted link. The idea behind it is the businesses process a large number of small dollar transactions and it can get up a larger chunk of the fees taken out. Okay. So stream elements has a thing on microtransactions. Yeah. Currently only available to streamers from the United States. Yep. Yep. Okay. Yeah. So here, I think that this paragraph right here highlights how Dash could win in the marketplace. Because again, I'm going to reference Clayton Christensen's book, The Innovator Solution, and I'll get you a link to that. Oops. Actually, since I moved, I switched. This is actually the reason for the new purple browser rather than before I had the blue browser. This browser, I'm not logged into anything that has a lot of my personal information. So I'm trying to reduce the potential of doxing myself, since unlike when I lived in a townhome, I was going to move in a year or two anyway. Now that I have a home, I want to try to not dox myself. So anyway, let me go find this real quick, and then I'll finish that thought. The innovator's solution. Remember, solution, solution, solution. Solution, results. Not the other one. The innovator's solution. There we go. Okay, so when there's an incumbent in the market, meaning a player that's already been in the market for a while. I don't know why I still have these headphones on. I stopped listening to music, what, an hour ago? Okay. Then the incumbent will almost always win. They'll always win if you compete against them directly, unless they have some huge blunder, such as they got bought out by another company and they no longer focus on that product, right? But the incumbent will always win in the market. The business that's been doing business in that market will always win in that market. But when you come out with a disruptive innovation, generally speaking, the incumbents cannot adapt because their business processes, which influence their pricing structures, are not compatible with the disruptive innovation. So in this case, I don't believe that it will ever be possible for PayPal to compete with Dash for microtransactions, because this is 5 cents plus 5%. So essentially, that's 10% or more of a microtransaction, right? That's at least 10% of most microtransactions. So I just don't think that PayPal has the ability to do any sort of legal or regulatory innovation that would lead to them being able to compete. So this is an area where the Dash can establish a niche and can win. And if the niche is large enough, and this points to, hey, maybe streamers are the ones that are one of the markets that Dash should be looking at. Wherever there are micropayments, or the lack of the ability to do micropayments is creating friction, that's where Dash could win in the marketplace. So, but this right here, excuse me. It's, if you look at it, it's almost a hey, screw you. You know, um, I don't like being hit in the groin. Okay, we're gonna hit you in the face. It's not. You're not winning. You're just losing differently. So, I mean, they market it as, oh, this is a huge win. Yeah, kind of, but not really. It's a huge win within the paradigm of this set of business processes, but this is not a disruptive innovation. So, yeah, it's again, so instead of getting kicked in the groin, you're getting smacked in the face. That's essentially what this reads. So, okay. Contact PayPal. Wait 48 hours. Add a micropayments address. Yeah. Anyway, that is cool. Thank you. Bookmarking. I appreciate that a lot. Okay. All right, so let me get back to documenting here. I was looking for cache.adders get or create. Maybe this was the right one because we're looking for account information. Account. Where did account come from? Account came from here. Let me look at that get or create again real quick. Okay, so we got the account info. Account has the token. Promise is new promise resolve. And then resolve. I think this is my problem, is that I didn't actually expose so what I should have done here is I should have had another function in this file called, let's say, resolve. And then I should be able to take a pay adder. It's probably a pay adder, and then some details. And then I would be doing a get. So cache.adders.get. Oops. Let's this would be an async function. Adders. Oops, and this would be like that. Pay adder. Okay. Oh, interesting. That's not an async function. Okay, so this doesn't need to be an async function. And I guess it's fine if you try to resolve it and you haven't even created it. That's okay. And then we're going to do promise dot resolve details. And then probably should have put underscore resolve on that. We'll see. Let me go check where it's being used. Resolve. So did we put get or create here? Get promise, if not promise, received webhook for an address we're not listening to. Got it. Receive payout amount. Okay, so if we get here, we know that the promise exists. So let's just change this. So let's do resolve, and then we'll do data.address. That's a better way to go about it. But I still don't know what that is actually going to be. So it's going to be whatever reset gives back. So let me go look at that real quick. That was under adders, I think. No, it was under token. Ah, yes, reset. Okay, so we're going to return row. Row is going to look like this. So that is ultimately what we're getting back there. Okay. So really, we don't even need the promise here. We just need an exists. Yeah, the promise makes sense though. Okay, I'll look at comments in just a second. Let me go get back here and I probably should update the status on that. Should get back a status complete, probably. Get or create. Okay, get. Oh, where was that race at? Wait for. Okay. So when I do the wait for, let me go back to that one. Again, I will look back at comments in just a second. You can feel free to ask questions even while I'm doing something else. Wait for, nope, that was not the right one. It was under cache. Wait for ID. Okay. So let's go back to the resolve here. I think what I want to do is put in details.status equals complete. Let's go back and look at the wait for real quick. Okay, details. I think this is where it goes. That's where it should go. Let me go get rid of it from the other place. I don't want to put it there. I want to mix that logic. Yeah, this is the right place for it. And we still have that to do there, but that's okay. All right. All right, now I'll check comments here. Just realized many advertising campaigns use nominal amounts for PPC. Dash could be huge here. Okay. Help me understand that better, because typically when you're doing advertising campaigns, you are dealing with hundreds of dollars. And on the reverse side, so basically you are trading assets because you have to accrue and a balance of typically something in the realm of maybe $20, maybe $100 before you get a payout. And so when you're paying in, you're typically you're buying $100 worth of ads or $300 worth of ads. And when you're getting paid out, that those clicks accrue as an asset until you hit a threshold that it turns into a USD payout. Okay. Oh, okay. You're sharing a link. All right. Is this my code base? Yes, this is my code base, but I'd completely forgotten where I was at. And so I had to spend some time going back over it again. This is also a group thing. So Dash Hive is a group thing, but I am the only developer that's been working in this particular code base right now. Okay, link in Discord. Is it good to use else blocks or use continue? So typically, no, you want to avoid else blocks. Your else block should be an equivalent size of your if block. So if you do have an if else, which generally you should not, then the size of the blocks should be about the same. If the size of the blocks are different, or they're more than, say, basically, if you have an if or an else that's more than 3 to 5 lines long, then you're probably doing it wrong. And if you have an if that's 5 lines long and an else that's only 1 line long, then, or reverse of that, you're probably doing it wrong. And I will link you to, so creedsofcraftsmanship.com is the site to go to. And particularly, I'm going to reference the Matt Ryer talk, Things I Never Use in Go. So I'm going to go ahead and copy this address. Oh, did somebody just raid? Thanks for the raid. Oh, my volume is turned down, so I may have missed the sound on that. I took the headphones off because I wasn't using the headphones, and I turned it down because I was listening to music, yada, 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 yada. Anyway, so here's Matt Ryer on Things I Never Use in Go. And it's a talk about Go, but it's not really about Go. It's about software engineering. Most talks about Go are not really about Go. They're really about software engineering. Go is just a great language for software engineers. Okay. Do you have any advice when mutability versus immutability in a real code base? It depends on the features of the language that you're using, because certain this is a holy war. And the answer to me is that it's somewhere in the middle. Mutability is not better or worse than immutability. Immutability is not better or worse than mutability, except given a context. So I don't like frameworks and libraries that try to turn languages such as JavaScript into immutable languages, because they add so much boilerplate and fluff and everything on top that just doesn't make any sense. Now, if you're using a language, I think Haskell is immutable, or was it F sharp? So there are languages that are meant to be mathematically pure functional languages, and that's mostly your only option, except for maybe things like time, because certain functions, such as getting the time, are stateful functions. They cannot be immutable because of the nature of where you're pulling the data from. Anyway, so I think experiment with both so that you learn, because it's one of those things where if you go to one extreme and you go to the other extreme, you should realize, hey, both of these extremes are bad, and meet in the middle. But I recommend creedsofcraftsmanship.com. Learn about software engineering. Learn about those principles. And many of those talks are Go talks, but again, like I said, it's because Go is a language developed especially for software engineers, and those principles will help you make those choices. I currently try to do things like almost no else's, no mutability, no loops, unless it's something like optimizing a recursive call stack via while loop. I'm just learning programming at the moment, sophomore in university. Okay, well, I would say that's great. Are you also learning how to build real programs? because more important than well, not more important, but equally important to the theory of it all and doing homework assignments is building programs that solve problems. So try to pick a problem and solve it, something that you actually care about, something that you would find interesting. And, you know, take a problem, break it down really, really small. You wish there was an app that showed you how to find gluten-free alternative recipes. You know, maybe you can't build the whole app, but maybe you can figure out how to just scrape some web pages that or build against some APIs that give you some recipes, or you figure out how to build your own recipe index or something like that. So I'd recommend, or if you're in a different, if you have a more specialized field, you're interested in game development, whatever it is, just start building programs that you care about and see how it feels in the real world. Because it's one thing if you're building a chess program in C++ because that's what uni requires of you, but you're not really going to do that in the workforce. So, but the problems that you actually have are problems that you very well may need to solve in the workforce. Okay, so did you get a chance to see the new generics update in Go? Yes, I did. Did you like it, or do you think it takes away from its simplicity? Both. I do like most of it. I think that they should not have implemented I forget what it's called. There's a word, a mono word and a poly word. One means basically copy and paste, and the other one means virtual tables. They should not have added the virtual table, because anytime that you're going to do the type of generics that leads to virtual tables, and I could be wrong about this, but I don't know. This is not a problem that I've had in Go in the first place. I do like the idea of generics over primitive types. So something being generic to an int and a uint and an int32 and an int16 and an int64 and uints of those and just plain int. I like that concept of generics that they introduced, where you can say, for these types that are really all the same thing, just here write one function or whatever. I also, likewise, strings and byte arrays. Those are the same thing. It's just, so essentially for the primitive types, I love it. I think it's great. I wish they'd introduced that sooner. It's perfectly simple, makes total sense. And the way the compiler handles that is it's literally just copying and pasting for each of the types that you actually use. So there's no extra overhead in terms of computation when you're actually running the program, and the overhead at compile time should be pretty minimal in most cases, because you're looking at types of functions, maybe sort functions or something like that people complained about that I myself, it'd be nice if there were a few more sort functions in the standard library for basic types such as strings and ints and stuff, right? So with that, I think that they hit the nail on the head. I think the syntax looks great. What you should check out if you're interested is let me see if I can get the Utah Forge YouTube channel. Let me see if I can find it here real quick. Okay, Forge Utah. Error handling and Go. It looks like they have not yet added. Oh, generics and Go. Here we go. About it. Okay, so I'm going to give you the link. Monospace? No, not monospace. No, there's a word for the way that generics work in different languages, and the one that starts with mono means copy and paste, and the one that starts with poly means virtual tabling stuff. Holy moly. Hello, everybody. It looks like I got ready. Again, I totally did not hear. Did the sound go off? I did not hear it. Okay, anyway. So here's generics in Go. This is the presentation that was given at the Utah Go, which Forge Utah hosts Utah Go as well as many other things. But I think that the two presenters, I don't know if both presenters are represented in this. I think they are, but I think both presenters did an excellent job. Okay, monomorphization. Let me bring this over real quick. Monomorphization. That's the copy and paste. And then the other one, I guess, is polymorphization, and that's the virtual tabling. But anyway, back to generics and Go. I think that part of the implementation is really good. I think the other part of the implementation is really bad, but the good news is that it's really slow. And the reason that it's good that it's really slow is that then people won't use it unless they actually need it, and I don't think anybody needs it. Because interfaces in Go already give you generics. You don't need generics in Go because you have interfaces. The one thing where people complain and complain and complain, and I understand the complaint, I think that just having a cheat sheet and being able to copy and paste is more Go-ish, but I think the way that it was implemented, like I'm saying, is good enough, is where you need some methods that are really, really similar for common types of tasks, such as sorting bytes, sorting ints, etc. And that's really the only thing that I can think of. I've never come across a case that I can think of where I wanted to use generics and Go. And I am afraid that people are going to abuse it. But the good news is, like I said, because it's slow to use generics in the bad way and interfaces are faster, then you get better performance if you use interfaces. So people will just use interfaces because people don't care what makes sense. They just if you can micro benchmark it, then that's the answer. Okay. Anyway, let's see here. I went down a rabbit hole a bit more on CS stuff, and I'm starting to do full stack web dev now. Yeah. Also, remember, there's no such thing as full stack web dev. You're either back end or you're front end. And if you're full stack, then you're front end. Because you're no more likely to be good at CSS and good at SQL than you are to be good at riding motorcycles and good at baking cakes. Certainly, there are lots of chefs who also enjoy a good cycle. And there are certainly lots of motorcyclists that enjoy baking on the weekends. But the two things just don't go together. And CSS and SQL just don't go together. So, yeah, whenever you see a job listing for a full stack developer, that's just a cry for help. It means that they don't know what they want. They don't understand the concerns that they have for their business, and they just need someone to help them. And so it's a good way to get a more entry level style position and make your way into a company, because whatever they're going to interview you for, they obviously, if they had enough people to interview you to know that you were both good at front end and back end, which like I said, they're just not they're not skills that are generally coincidental. But if they had those types of people, then they wouldn't be asking you that question in the first place, or they wouldn't be searching for that in the first place. Okay, let me get back over to this. Sorry, I didn't mean to skip over the question here or the comment here about click and pay standard. Micropayment standards, which would give net users pay-as-you-go surfing. Yeah, this makes sense. 1999. Yes. That's cool. Bookmarking that as well. Way cool. Thank you for that link. Yeah, this is basically where Dash could succeed. Yep. Okay, I'm not going to go into the full thing right now. I'm going to get back to this so I can finish writing my documentation and maybe even get to sleep tonight. Since the move and just the burnout of working a lot extra before the move, I'm just kind of easing myself back in. But this is a really good session tonight, I feel like. Oh, and let me get my chat back up because I moved the chat while I was looking at something else here. Okay. Yeah, you can know a little bit of front end, but I don't know. Especially when you're early in your career, it's a lot less expensive to learn. And so that's something that you got going for you. Back when I was early on in my career, CSS sucked really bad. Now the problem isn't that CSS sucks, is that nobody learns it. Because I do find that CSS, almost all problems that we had with CSS back 10 years ago are not problems now, but people still behave as if they are. People are still being taught as if they are, and that I find to be frustrating. Because, I don't know, people just, it's just a merry-go-round between standards bodies and boot camps and all that stuff. But I think it's certainly more possible to be good at front end and back end than it was before because the front end is less complicated. So if you're a back end person and you're coming into CSS now, if you talk to people who have more expertise, which I actually would say I have more expertise in CSS than most people. I believe that I have more expertise in most things than most people. So that's, you can chalk that up to my own arrogance, but I do. Or at least most things that I have any amount of interest in. So yeah, that's a whole can of worms. But you could ask me questions about CSS and I might be able to point you in the right direction or at least describe the thing that I know about. Whereas if you look at just random blogs online, you're going to find people in 2022 parroting the same answers from 1999, which are not good answers. Or they just say that use grid, flex, box, something or other for everything. And then obviously that's not true because whatever. But I don't really understand the whole grid flex box stuff. I just know that there's 3 or 4 different versions, and one of them has this template feature that's really cool. I actually used that, and yeah, that all of that evolved so quickly. I think it's all been sorted out now, but it evolved so quickly that there was this big rush to do everything in one way, almost as bad as back when everything was tables. People just switched over to everything as this one box style, and that's hopefully apparently that not what it ought to be. Okay, let me see. What I was going to do, stale at 2022 dash 5 dash. What is it? We'll just go with the current time. And then it expires at. I'm just giving an example here. All right, and then there was going to be a token, and the token was going to be some X's or whatever, and then the ID. I don't remember what that was going to be, but I think it was going to be. We'll just set some X's. I think that's what it was. Is it now? Is the ID the ID? That was the ID of the account, which is basically the ID of the token. So the token, why does the token have a different ID? Let me go back in here and look at this again. So account.token, why was ID thing? Wait for ID. Huh. Let me go back and look at that resolve. Okay, account. So I was looking at reset. Dang it. Going in circles here. Row, and it's the ID of the row, but why? Is it just because it is the ID of the row? That's why it's an ID. So we actually don't need ID in there, I think. I think we could drop ID and we would do fine because that's really the internal. I think that's, yeah, in token ID and the join ID, right? So insert into token ID row.id. Okay. And then where did ID come from here? Hash of token and token ID length. Oh, right. Okay, so we're just hashing the token and that's the ID. Why did I do it that way? I don't remember. Probably to get a smaller length. This token ID length. I don't know why I did that. But I'm going to go with, I don't think that that should be documented because I don't think that I should have that in there. I'm just going to put a little note to self to do remove ID from output. All right, so we're going to do pending or complete. That's what status is going to look like. All of this stuff's going to come out like that. Okay, cool. And then with hello, I think basically didn't do anything, if I remember correctly. I just echoed back hello or success or something like that. Or gave, okay, result. Warnings. Great. Yeah, and then account. Rect.account. Let me figure out where rect.account was defined. Okay, checking comments again. All right. Any good resources to learn design patterns, preferably in Go, not able to develop intuition of which pattern to pick up one? Of course, I'm going to recommend Effective Go, which is the little short book that is the little short Go book. The other thing I'm going to recommend, creedsofcraftsmanship.com. Let me go ahead and paste this in here. I don't know why why is my bot not doing this? I think it's not doing it because I blocked myself, because it was doing in triplicate, because it was showing up in the Restream chat, and then it was showing up in the YouTube chat, and then it was showing up in the Discord chat all separately for some reason, and so I blocked myself. And I think it made so that it wasn't going out automatically. Anyway, so crazycraftsmanship.com, I've got lots of great software engineering resources on there, and a lot of them are about Go because Go is such a great software engineering language. And Dave Cheney has a 3-hour workshop in there. Simplicity is Complicated by Rob Pike is a wonderful talk. And if you have a specific question, if you care to post a link to a gist in Discord, feel free to do that. Also, remember, if you like what you like, you get more of what you like. So consider thumbs up, sub, follow, whatever, if you're liking this content. And there's the Discord link there. That's my little bot reminder that pops up every 20 or 40 minutes or so to remind me to do that little spiel. But if you want to drop a link to a specific question in the Beyond Code chat, feel free to do that. Karslark, you're welcome. Good night. Thanks for educating me on open source tech. You're welcome. Thanks for joining in and for all of the conversation. I really love it when we have good conversation like we've had tonight. That's really awesome. Welcome to the Discord, Ael. Okay. So let's see. I was checking out where account's coming from, and then we've got a tokens.get. So this is the same account, I believe, that I was just looking at. So I'm going to go back into table token, and we're just going to look at the get equals. And then what were we doing here? The underscore get. Yes. Hold on a second. I got a sneasel. Woo! All right. I don't know what's going on. I seem to be smelling something. I think it might be myself. I was by the fire earlier. We got a fire pit last night, and so we roasted marshmallows with our little girl. It was great. Anyway, so I still have a lot of wood smell, which I actually like. I really like wood smell. But so I'm looking, let me get back on track here. So I'm looking for what's coming back in the account, and I was going to mention how this is Slonik that I'm using here. So I can write raw SQL queries, but it is also going to validate the queries before it sends them off. It's got some sort of parser stuff going on in here. Anyway, token ID as token. So, that's get by pattern. We need get. We need just get. Where's just get? There it is. Okay, select star. I shouldn't have done select star. Well, yeah. Okay, from token. And I'm just going to go take a look at migrations real quick. And then take a look at the schema for token again. Just the ID token, email, phone, webhook, hardcode software. Oh, interesting. So this email, phone, webhook could come back too. All right. So same thing as before, but it could also have, whoops, a few more things. So let's go ahead and I'm going to document this. Well, it doesn't really matter what comes back in that. Yeah, okay, I'm just gonna leave that one alone. Oh, and then this one, I do want to document this one as well. So then once I get the documentation up to date for this, I think we're gonna call it a night. So if, and be another 10 minutes maybe, or famous last words, who knows how long it'll be. But if you have a streamer that we should raid, let me know, because I don't follow a lot of people yet. And I would love to carry on the proud tradition of keeping the raids going strong and long. So, and I'm sorry I didn't recognize when the raid. I think we had 2 raids tonight, and I didn't recognize when they happened. I didn't hear the sound go off. So, and nobody said, "Hey, it was me." So because usually people pop in, they say raid and throw some emojis at you, but nobody did that. So or at least I didn't see it. So I don't know who to thank, but thank you, whoever you are. I appreciate it. And if you make yourself anonymous, then I may chance follow you on Twitch and return the goodwill at some point. Okay, so what did I go into this file for? Anybody remember? Okay, I was looking here for the dash webhook, DWH. Okay. Yeah, okay. So I was checking to see what comes in from rec.body here. I think we're only going to have that one thing. Yep. And then what comes in from data? We got data address and Satoshis. Is that it? I think that's it. Data dot address, data dot Satoshis. That looks like that's it. All right. So that's what comes in. I'm going to document that. So address, again, this is going to be in the format of XX. Oops. And then we're going to have and this is an 8-digit number. 10100100. Is that how the denomination goes, or is it the other way where it's 10010010? I don't remember which way the denomination goes. Millidash, something like that. It goes that way. 100,000. Is it 8? No. No. Wait. I think it's like this, because it's 1.0010010. That's it. That's how Satoshis are denominated. Yes, I am working on a payment system for Dash. So digital currency payment system. And Dash has the same denomination. Wait, is it? I can never remember whether I'm getting this right or not. Millidash, Microdash, and Duffs. Yeah. Ryan, feel free to link to this part when you watch it and share it far and wide. After months, I still can't remember how the heck this thing's denominated. Okay. All right. So that is what comes in. And then I think what goes back is specific. I don't think it was accidental. Let's see, what is the result supposed to be? Okay. And the results, okay, is going to be, it's just mirroring. Is that right? I think the received at, I think that was actually intended to go somewhere else. To do, was this meant for details? I don't think that was intended to be part of this. I think because there's where I call resolve, there's reset, and then there's resolve, and then I do data address and account. Oh, and the account has also the amount. So I need to make sure I add that on there. So let me go back here. That was for, yes, token status. So this would also have amount on it. And the amount should be, wait, are we putting amount in as an int or a float? Okay, it's as an int. All right, so then amount, yeah, this should not be this way. So amount should be 100, 100, whoops, 100. So millidash, microdash, duff, got it. Okay, I think I finally have a way to remember the amount. I don't want to jinx myself. Okay, and this is going to be a post, right? EWH. By the way, feel free to ask questions. I am wrapping up. Also, feel free to suggest who we should raid when we bring this to a close. I think I'm going to omit the received at for now because I don't want to document something that I'm not sure about. Really? So wait, do I receive pay adder and I respond adder? That can't be right. Address is result. Address. Was there a pay adder here? I was there. Okay. So this actually would be address. I don't know why I had pay adder there, but that is not correct, and this is correct. Oops. Okay, well, so no new features tonight, unless there were some accidentally. Tonight was just, it's been 2 months since I looked at this code. Let me look at it again. Let me document where I was at, because again, this was kind of paused mid-process because something else took priority. So it wasn't in a super great, well, it wasn't in a bad place to pause because I was able to go through the code and make good sense of it and remember, be able to see from the code that was there where I was at and kind of get caught up. And there were some good issues. The issues weren't all up to date, but there were some issues of what the to-do tasks were and whatnot. So it wasn't in a bad state. But the first bit was just going through, figuring out where I was at, then documenting the routes, just kind of getting in the right headspace and getting prepped for next time, where we will be adding some more features and getting this to the point where it's, like I said at the beginning, self-referential, where we're going to use this micropayment service as a paid micropayment service for someone to have a micropayment service, meaning that if you use this service, you'll pay some small amount in order to use it. And the purpose of the service is for other people to be able to pay you some small amount in order for them to be able to use your service. So let me do my get diff here. Whoa, what happened? Okay. You know what? Why do I not have Delta? I'm going to go ahead and grab Delta real quick. webinstall.dev/Delta gives you... wait, that didn't work. Why did that not work? Do I need to do something? Let me go check this out. Let's see. Already installed. Okay. Let me go check this out real quick. webinstall.dev/Delta. It's probably something that I need to the configuration. Okay, first of all, what in the world is it they have? I have one of those feelings that something is in my copy paste buffer. Is it something important? Oops. No, okay. I'm fine to leave that. All right, let's get rid of that. And then let me go ahead and copy and paste this stuff. I could have sworn that I had this set up so that it would just pick the right thing automatically. I just throw that all in there. Okay, now let's try get diff again. Nope, still not working. Okay, I'm not going to worry about it. So I don't know why Delta isn't working. Let me just go ahead and try Delta version. Oops. Okay, so yeah, it's installed. Whatever. All right, so I added a resolve function and I started using that. I fixed a bug. I fixed a missing property on a response. I added a few comments. Yeah, so basically just documentation and a couple of bug fixes. So I'm going to put this as docs. Just add API routes. Let's see. Rex and results. That has a nice ring to it. Oh no. You know what? I'm going to have to come here locally real quick and go into my dash webhook client. And let me go grab, let's see, dash hooks.duckdns.org serve dash webhook test. And then what are we looking for? Probably just want to exclude .get. Might have wanted to exclude .env as well. Oops, if that's the case. All right. So let me redo that. Okay. And then again, we're about to raid somebody else. So if you've got a good suggestion, let me know. Otherwise, we'll just see if any of the people I follow are on. And we'll go with it. Okay. Oh, there we go. So Delta's working locally, as you can see. Server. So fix plus factor. Set SVG QR SVG header and minor cleanup. That's what I'm going to call that one. All right, and that's it for the night. So we're caught up. We had some good discussion. Thank you all very much for joining in and for participating in that. Especially, let's see. I'm sorry, there was a few different new people that joined today that were making comments, and I may have gotten my wires crossed. But I think it was Big D was gave a couple of links that were particularly useful, as well as who else was it? Somebody else, I think, given a few good links as well. So sorry for not remembering that, but you know how it is. I'm kind of working on code and having some chat and not storing everything properly in my memories. But I'm going to go ahead and let's pop open the old Twitches here and see who we can raid. All right, am I signed in? I'm not even signed in here. Okay, I'm going to need to get signed in. I'm going to just sign in another tab, right? Or choose the tab where I am, the tab browser profile where I am signed in. I'm going to do that real quick. All right. And then I'm going to look and see who am I following? Is anybody that I'm following online? Holy weird. Okay, that's not what I thought it would be. All right, we're just going to pick somebody at random, I think, because I don't think anybody that I'm following is live. Let's see. How to choose. Sonic the Hedgehog. We're doing it. Just on the base of the name here. I don't even know what it is. I just like the icon. We're going with it. So, oh, I need to do this over here. We're gonna do /raid. Boom. All right, everybody. Thanks for joining in. Again, like if you liked it. Thumbs up, follow, sub, whatever, if you want to. And I will catch you next time. Adios. Oops. Oh.
Find me the nearest point on this line. It's just not a thing.
Oh no, whoop, I did the wrong thing. Okay, I gotta do that over here. All right, I'm out for realsies. Gonna hit the stop button here. So again, thanks for joining in. Like, sub, follow, all the things, and catch you around. Adios.